Hello my friends, my name is Catherine and this is my channel Stitching and Costume. Thank you for stopping by and happy February. Today is February 1st and I am filming, this is Flosstube number 25. So this is my first ever and perhaps my only ever whip parade. Now I have a big stack of things to show you and I have other things that I want to share with you as well, so I'm gonna cut the chatter and get right into it and start to chatter. So if I didn't say it before, my name is Catherine and I have an Instagram. It is @Trinkety, and I also have an email that you can reach me at, stitchingincostume@gmail.com. So I'll put all that information in the drop down box below. And well, welcome. If you've never been here before, this is where I talk about all of my stitching, mostly cross stitch, but I do have a little bit of costuming here and there. But today it's going to be all about my works in progress, what we call whips. So I'm going to start to just pull things out in complete random order. All I did was kind of pile them up here. I don't even know how many I have. So this is going to be eye-opening for me. I'd like to start off first though by just saying hello to a couple of people. I have a stitching group now that I get to meet with in person, actually 2 stitching groups. Am I lucky or what? I got to go to the local stitching group for the Sacramento area. It is called For the Love of Stitches. It was started by a beautiful woman named Chris. I'm going to be inserting pictures as I talk here. And it's such a great group of people. I got to go on, it was last weekend, and we had so much fun. We got together in this library and big tables, just a lot of fun people. I got to meet new stitchers and I got to see some friends that I had met before. Let's see, let me just throw a couple of names out there. So sitting next to me was Mellissa, and she is on Instagram as BusyBeeMD. I'm going to put her handle here. She was a ton of fun. She tells great stories, and you know, she had seen my Flosstube before, so she's like, oh, I feel like I know you. I'm like, yeah, you know me because this is who we are. I'm not acting, I'm just, you know, Catherine. And so we had a really good time. She sat next to me and I got there late because there was a pebble that hit my windshield. So I had to call the place and set up a time for them to come and fix the car. So it took me a while to get in there. And of course I was one of the last ones in there. I had to sit at this end table kind of by myself until someone else showed up. Whatever. It was fun. And you end up bouncing around and talking to people. It was a great time. And so Angie, the tiny house stitcher, she was there, and she is just the most warm, generous, kind person. She was so wonderful to see her. And Angie, another Angie Sawyer, I'm going to put Angie's Instagram handle here. Don't miss her. She is amazing. Her stitching blows my mind. If I get a chance to tell that story of seeing her stitching room at the end of this, if I have time, I'll throw that in there. But I want to keep moving. Angie, you're amazing, and extremely generous. She loaned me some charts that, you know, are out of print, and I'll show those later maybe. I have a lot to talk about. So that was completely awesome. I got to meet the rock star known as Michelle Hudson of Sacramento, California. Now, Michelle, I just have to tell you, I think I had met Michelle earlier. I weaseled my way into the NorCal Stitching Group. Years ago, they did a Christmas party at Olivia B's house, and her sister Elena catered it. It was amazing. And so I got to meet a lot of stitchers then, but I was like in this fog. I was new to stitching, back at stitching, and I didn't have a floss tube. I watched a lot of Flosstube, but there were a lot of people that I was just meeting for the first time. So I don't think it really registered with me meeting Michelle that time. But boy, when I got to meet her the other day, she really does have this, it's that it factor. So it's kind of like you walk into the room and your eyes just get drawn to her. She is like a bombshell movie star. That's all I can say about her. She is just amazing, great style, and just her kind. She's just amazing. She's beautiful. Anyway, that was that. And who else did I meet? There was a lady named Dina that was sitting next to me, and I believe Barbara. There were so many great, and Chris, of course, Chris Rogers and Chantal. So if anybody's watching, hi from that group. I love you guys, and I can't wait to get together with you again. The other group I got to stitch with is called Stitchin and Bitchin, and they are kind of a splinter group. Well, they had been getting together for a while. So I got to go stitch with them last weekend. I had the best time. I got to spend the night with my sister, so I got to really stay there as long as I wanted. And they had crock pots full of delicious spaghetti sauce. And we had, salad and, it was great. And cake, the food was amazing. And then meeting Janet and all of the other stitchers there, you guys, it was so much fun. And again, it's just like heaven for me to get to sit in a room full of stitchers. They do a lot of mirabilias. Oh my gosh. I might be turned to the dark side of doing those because they're amazingly beautiful, very sparkly and pretty. Okay, I'm going to move on here. So hello to my stitchers and my stitchers. Hello to my stitching friends. Let's transition into some finishes. I have two finishes I'd like to share with you. One is really actually an old finish that I've never shared before. This is something that I finally got almost framed. I got it finished to the point where I could put it in the frame, but I haven't quite gotten to the actual finished part yet. So without further ado, this is called Coffee Saves Lives, and this is by Heartstring Samplery. This is one of the first samplers I stitched when I came back to stitching. So I did it in 2019, and I used all the called for flosses. I think this is a 32 count. Lakeside, I think, is what I did it on. This was before I was really keeping track of all of my whips. I love this one so much, and I'm so glad I got it almost framed. So it's not quite put all the way in. I'm going to probably take it in and have them put spacers in there and perhaps glass, because I would like this to hang in my kitchen. I think that's a perfect kitchen stitch. This was my first time doing eyelets. I thought it was so fancy and adorable design. I love the donuts in the basket, the sprinkled donuts, French knots, and all it's just so many cute details on this. So that was finish number 1, almost fully finished. And my other finish, this was my New Year blessing sampler. So for this year, I know that I watched Carol's Saltbox Stitcher, and she was talking about doing a blessing sampler. So you start it January 1st and you finish it before the end of the month. Now, I knew I was going to have to pick something doable, so I wanted something on the smaller scale. This fit the bill perfectly. This is by Hands Across the Sea. And this is Florence Law 1899, and waste not, want not, which I love that phrase, and I kind of want it to be my my lead-in phrase for the year. So this is my finish. Now this is not it's not fully, but I found this little frame at the thrift store, and I really thought it was a pretty good match to what was happening. This is kind of bright, but I like it. I'm still working on getting it laced and pinned in there so that everything is straight. Boy, I'll tell you, those straight lines on the edges of the samplers, they're a challenge to get those right. There she is, Florence Law 1899. And the hearts. So it's a great, if you're thinking of something for like Valentine's Day, this is a good one. This is on 46 count Bristol in the color Biscotti, and I got that from Colorado Cross Stitcher. And I did this with my first time using 103 silks, and it was 681, I believe, is the color. It's a nice bright red, and that biscotti has got a nice warm tone to it. So yeah, I did it. So I feel I did it. I finished a sampler before the end of the month, which gives me confidence to move and get more finished this year. So let's start to dive into whips, and let's see where I stand here. So I'm at 10 minutes, and there is going to be, I'm sorry, but there will be zipping and unzipping. I want to make sure I keep everything all together. Like a lot of people say when they do whip parades, it can get, I guess, right? You have all your things, so it can get a little confusing. I've never done one before, so here we go. And again, random order. So one of the first whips I'm going to show you, this is something that I have longed to do. I've been watching it on the back of Carol Saltbox Stitcher's door. This is Harriet door, her wall. Harriet Elizabeth Co. I'm sorry, I need to slow down. Beautiful sampler, and this is by Brenda Gervais. And I am doing this with called for flosses. I think I did a substitution. And these are the floss colors. And this is where I am. This is on a piece of needle and flax, Dirty Teacup, which I feel like is my new favorite. It is just so pretty. Let me put it on this board really quick so that it has. Now I didn't iron anything, of course. I'm lucky to even get up here today to do this. I feel like I'm always trying to carve out time to do that. This is where I am. And I started at the bottom. I got the over one almost completed so that now I can just kind of boogie on up. And that's where I am. You can kind of see where I am. And it's going quite quickly, actually. And let's see, what else can I tell you about that? Let's see, I did sub the red. So the red I'm using is Tulip. And this is by Belsois, Classic Colorworks. It's a silk. I just wanted something a little brighter. I can't remember. Let me see what it calls for. The red it calls for is Pomegranate by Gentle Arts. But my pomegranate was more pink, and I wanted something that was really going to pop. So Tulip is great. It has a lot of variegation to it. And it's dark, but it also has pretty light places as well. So that's where I am on Harriet. And I kind of snuck up yesterday, and that was what I was working on. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see here. Let me put her back in. I'll go back later and get everything put away so it doesn't wrinkle up too much. All right, let's move on. This is whip number 2, Mary G. Ramage. And this is by Hands Across the Sea. I loved this as a temperance sampler. Every man's home is his castle. And then it says, wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging. I thought it'd be fun to put it up in the bar area. Not like we're big partiers, but I just thought it was. Anyway, where am I on this? So I got all of the DMC floss. There we go. And this is where I am. And let me tell you what I'm working on. This fabric is hand-dyed by Stephanie, Toasted Almond, in a 36. And I'm doing 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. Let me see if I can. This is a beautiful, that's a beautiful linen. The modeling in that is so nice. And that's where I am on it. I started at the top. Already made mistakes on it, but I'm just going to roll with it. I got off a little bit on the border because there is a beware in there that I plowed right through, but it's all going to work out. I counted it. It's going to be fine. So I'm having fun with that. I haven't picked it up in a while, so one to get back to. Let's see. I'm going to be saying that a lot. But yeah, this is a great, the hand dyed by Stephanie has a really nice hand. It's very nice. And that's that one. And that's a little gem. So definitely a potential finish this year. This is one I feel like I fell completely off the wagon with. So let's pull it out and take a look at Elizabeth Isles. So this was for Laura, the cereal starter, and this was her birthday start last year, or her birthday sale, that I jumped in on, and I was having a really good time because I played with some of the angels around the border to kind of reflect my family to some degree, loved ones lost, or I'm even thinking I might add some present people, just not, because I have angels in my life right now too that give me support and lift me. So okay, that is where we are on. Well, let me show you where I am on it. So I'm using, this is Picture This Plus sand, 36 count, and it is gorgeous. So let's see where we are on this. Let me put it up like that so it stays. Really beautiful fabric, and again, having fun with that. And I started off with the call for DMC, and then I've just started to kind of pull random things that I wanted to make it more personalized. I also got the floss pack that is by, let me make sure I say it correctly. The floss pack by Almond M&Ms. And it is so that we can personalize the angels and make their skin tones all different colors as we have fun with this. I love the angels. That was what really drew me, is the angel border. And that's my Aunt Diana up there with her tennis racket, and she was called the Viking Queen. So I just kind of improvised. And then I have a lot more improvisations in my head. So what I was going to do is go around and have the border meet. Didn't happen. So I went around, came up and went, uh-oh. So now what I think I'm going to do is go across and have a better opportunity to get things to line up, because I can't seem to get that border. It's a little tricky to count for me. So what happened is I kind of fell off doing it because of the border issue, and I love it so much. I want to get back to it. And I've been using also that sparkly Etoile thread by DMC, and that's a really pleasant thread to work with. If you like a little sparkle, but you don't want to have to deal with Krynig, that's a good one. It's affordable, and I think it's pretty easy to find. Michael's, I think, still has quite a bit of it, I hope. Or go on to DMC, the website, DMC website, and I'm sure you can find it there. Let's move on. Okay, so now I've got another Hands Across the Sea, and this is in a bag I made with Kathy Holden fabric. It's that flea market flowers, I think that's what this is. This is Rose Ada Featherstone, and I'm using the DMC floss pack. This was from Hobby House, and exclusive to Hobby House Needleworks. And I was all, revved up about it. And then again, kind of tucked it away. Antique lace, 36 count antique lace by Seraphim. And I got the border to meet up. So I got that far, and then I just kind of sputtered out, or I got sidetracked. There was some other thing that I wanted to start. So that's what I did. But look at how pretty. I love the house. I love the cherubs so much. And very doable size. And on the back of that one, it has this, which I would like to do as well, what is that called? Jane Elizabeth Milner. So, yeah, well, you shall see. You shall see. That's where I am on it. That's my friend Susan. Okay. That's a good fabric too. Seraphim fabric, really pretty. And if I don't say it, my general rule of thumb now is 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. And I did want to mention too, on the Florence Law that I did, that I finished, that was my first time using 103, and I did like it on the 46 count, but I don't think I would go any lower. I don't think I'd even use it on 40. I know people love it, and I'm not saying anything negative about it. I do love it too, but for me, for the coverage that I like to get, yeah, I would do it on 46, and I have a lot of 46 that I can use for that now, but it's all about stepping up, and I have to finish some things before I can get things and start them again. This one, look at that beautiful floppy thing of floss. I love this so much. Well, of course, like a lot of people when they do their whip parades, don't drink alcohol every time I say I love this so much, or we won't get through the end of this. Right. Alice Sarah Dennis by Mill on the Floss. And Rachel from Needle and Flax, I was watching her. She's doing this as well. I started this quite a while ago. This was, again, one of the first samplers that I really wanted to do. And I started on 32 count. It's like a bed sheet how big this is. It is so much fabric. I dyed this. I over dyed this fabric. I don't know. I think it was just a plain Zweigart antique white. And I just took a little bit of tan red, I think, and kind of lightly dyed it. I was kind of treading slowly with it. Doing this in the Call for DMC. So big. And like a lot of people say, when they start off on a 32 doing 2 strands of floss, and then they graduate or they go to 40 or 36 or 40 and use 1 strand, it's kind of hard to go back sometimes. And that's where I am with this. Again, I love the way it looks. I love the coverage. And these are DMC flosses that you can see how long it's been since I've worked on this, because they're still in their floss away bags, and I don't use those anymore. I put them on drops now as I go, but I don't have a lot on drops. So it's been a bit of time. Now, you know, doing the loop start with 2 strands of floss is pretty easy. That's pretty simple. It's just, I don't know, you know, I don't know why, but it's kind of fell off the wagon on that. But I love this one so much. It's just going to be enormous. Enormous. I mean, it's not going to cover this whole thing, but it's pretty big, which now I've got to think of a frame for it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to persevere. I'm going to push on because I just love the design so much. Adam and Eve, and I'm really drawn to the Adam and Eve samplers as well. And I was watching Carol Saltbox Stitcher yesterday, and she was talking about Adam and Eve was the first mention of sewing in the Bible because they sewed fig leaves. So I liked that little nugget. Now it's going to be in my head every time I see my Adam and Eve samplers that I love. Again, drawn to those. So Alice Sarah Dennis by Mill on the Floss, and you can still find, unless I'll let you know if it's out of print. But a lot of the things that I do are still in print. Oh, this one I love. I love this one. Florence Mary Dickinson, and this was exclusive to Hobby House Needleworks. Let me make sure. I think that's what it is. I think it's Hobby House had the exclusive for this, and I sat on my hands and didn't get it for the longest time, and then I was talking to Barbara, the Raspberry Stitcher, and her friends, and they were saying, just get the chart. And I said, you know what, that's a good idea. So I got the chart, and I was at Needle in a Haystack, and I found some vintage purled barley by Lakeside in a 40 count, and I started this. And so I am sallying along, and I'm up to date on it. There is a plan to make progress every month. So hopefully I'm going to be doing that. And I found, or I didn't find, Barbara suggested that we go on over to Hand-Dyed Fibers by Vicki Clayton, and she had the silk pack for this. So I got that, which I love. I love the silk, and the way it lays on this 40 count is heaven. Really pretty. And I know Brenda, the sampler stitcher, is doing this right now as well, and she's made a lot of progress. It's kind of hard to stop on it. It's set up in my morning stitch room, and this is kind of my go-to when I have an hour or so to work on it. I just wander in and start stitching. Love this fabric so much. Vintage Purled Barley by Lakeside. Oof, pretty. So there is the other Florence I did. So the first one was Florence Law, and then I had Florence, a lot of Florences this year. Okay, so that is going to be a finish this year. I'm just throwing it out there for sure. Okay, I'm already getting quite a lot of stuff. Okay, now this falls into a stitch kindness that I cannot overlook. I have to talk about this, as well as my whip that I have stored in it. So my friend Andrea, who is Fillin' 69, and she lives down under, sent me this glorious bag. French General fabric. She sells her bags. You can go on Instagram at Fillin'69, and she will list when she has things available, and that's how she sells them. So you just follow her on Instagram, and you'll see these bags pop up. And believe me, her craftsmanship is par excellence. It is perfect. I mean, this zipper pull, everything about it, it's lined beautifully. It's just gorgeous. So thank you, Andrea. And she also sent me little goodies. I'm going to show you those too. And I haven't used it yet, so I just now, and I came up, I pulled it up so that I could share it with you. This is her floss drops. You might have seen those before. It came with this adorable bling for my threads. And look at the heart pins. Oh my gosh. Perfect for Valentine's Day. I almost feel like I want to make a really cute pin cushion for these to display those. So again, what do I keep in here? The whip that I started with, Andrea, Harriet Goddard, which I have not made a lot of progress on, but she's completely finished. So I'm far behind you, but I'm into it. I love it. So I'm gonna show you where I am on it. This is on 40 count, and it's by Tropical Stitches, this fabric. It's called Geo Vanilla. Now, I know Celeste Creates, who is another one of my favorite people to watch, talks about Tropical Stitches fabric as being her favorite fabric, and I can see why. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's very lightly modeled. Oh, look at that. So you can see where I am. I'm not very far down. And because I have so much of this fabric, and it's clearly I have a lot of fabric left over, I wanted to see if I could just move down to the bottom so that I could trim my fabric down and maybe get this on a scroll rod. Oh, look at how pretty. And again, these are the silks that I got, the silk pack from Victoria Clayton. And you probably can go on to Victoria Clayton. I'll link that below. And you can find silk packs. She probably still has all of the silk packs. If she doesn't, I know if you message her, sometimes she can put things together for you. It's not that hard because I think they're kind of stock, her colors that she uses. That's where I am. So pretty. Let's move along. I'm 30 minutes in and I still have a few things. I've got a few things. So zip zap back into that beautiful French General fabric bag. I'm going to try not to scrunch things up too much. And zoop, there it goes. This one is a bag I made with the Lori Holt fabric. Bag making takes time. I really enjoy using special bags, but I'd rather be stitching on cross stitch than creating bags. But so I really appreciate people that do put them together. Now this is one I was hoping to finish this month, but got nowhere near finishing. I do not know why I stall out on it every time I pick it up, because it's absolutely beautiful. This is a Blackbird design and it's called Oh Joyous Day. A lot of people have finished it. I know Brenda, the sampler stitcher, a new Flosstuber to me. I was going to talk about it at the end, but I'm just going to throw it out there, is New Hampshire Stitcher. You don't want to miss her. I think everybody is talking about her right now. She's got beautiful whips. She just did her finish parade that I'm still trying to get through. I just keep getting interrupted. But she has this finished, and she says it's probably one of her favorite, and I can see why. I'm doing this on the called for flosses, with the called for flosses on the called for fabric, I believe is Legacy by Picture This Plus. That's where I am. So I finished that and started, I have to fill in the windows on the house. Oops, that's the antique. This is taken from an antique, which I love that because it was from 1761, so an 18th century antique, and that's their rendition of it, which is pretty close. Not, I mean, clearly there's a red house and a giant bird in the middle, but love it. And that's where I am on it. I made a few mistakes and had to take things out. And I have made a mistake that I don't want to remove. This flower is too tall, which means my satin stitch is going to run into it just a little. It's gonna kiss it, which I'm going to have to be okay with that. We'll just work with it. I don't know how I'm gonna personalize it yet, because it was going to be an anniversary finish for my husband, but that never happened, and I don't know what it is with me in that, because it's a beautiful sampler, and it's all the things I love: pears, birds, houses. I love the fabric, and I used all the called for flosses. So I've kind of learned my lesson with Blackbird design, and I do that as much as I can. All right, let's move on. All right, let's see here. So this is in a Halloween bag I made, and I used this really cute fabric. I can't remember who it's by, but it was really kind of Halloween-y and fun. And I put pockets in the front of the bag, which I can put scissors, or if I'm traveling, this is a good one to take with. I lined it with that fabric. So what do I have in here? This is another thing I stalled out on. Stacy Nash. Primitives and what do we call this? The Good Stitching Witch Pin Keep. I love the black strawberry and the spools and all of it. It's adorable. And I'm doing this on a piece of Picture This Plus, a 36 count gingerbread. That's where I am on it. So I think the reason I stalled out on it was this color. These are called for colors, except for the Hare that I've messed around with, which I'm going to change. I believe they're the called for flosses, but I feel like it's not showing up the way I want, so I might have to change that top of the strawberry, but I'm not really sure what to do. Because the fabric, you can tell, that was called for is lighter. It's not showing, so I'm gonna have to play around with that. And I started to do her hair blonde so it would look, more reflective of me. Even though I put some gray in there, I should just make it gray. And yeah, that's where I am on it. So that's been a while since I picked it up, but I love that gingerbread fabric. Really pretty. And to be honest, I kind of lost track of where that even was in my sewing room. I think I had it in a separate basket, but I don't know. I don't know why it was missing, but it was missing in action for a while. Another teeny tiny little project. This won't take any time at all. Consider the Lilies. This is by Heartstring Samplery. I was working on his eyes on the Sparrow, and this came out, and I was like, okay. Practically threw the other one across the room and ran to buy this. I bought all the called for flosses. I went to the Needle in a Haystack to get all of that put together. I have started to do this thing now when I have bigger projects, especially. I laminate the thread key and throw it on the ring, so I'm not always scrambling around looking for it. And this is quite an extensive thread key. I think I might have had to like cut and paste things together to make it all work together. And those are the beautiful flosses. I love the greens. I love the color palette of this is so beautiful and springy and airy. And I'm doing this one on, let's see if I put it on my, I don't know if it's on that thing, but it is a big piece of, what I do this on? I'm going to find it. I am going to find it. Yes, 36 count Sandcastle by Silkweaver. And it is gorgeous fabric. Now, I'm going to hold it up really quick and to show you that I have met up the border, and I just did the first leg of the cross to meet it up, just to make sure I had all of my counting right. And then I came down and I started in the bottom corner there, and that's where I am. So really pretty colors. I haven't worked on it in a while. It's a lot. It's a long-term, fun project. Love the way the colors are showing up on the fabric, and I love the coverage. And again, this is one strand of floss over 2 linen threads. Gorgeous. Oof. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And this lives in a giant bag. A big, giant bag. It's a big one. Okay. Onward. I don't really have, let's see where I'm at, 39. Some more, but let's see where I am. So these are, is this something that I'm working on, or is it, you know what, I'm going to pass on that because it's not, doesn't really have, it's things that I'm planning to work on. I just want to show you my whips today. So this is the Sal for Brenda, the Sampler Stitcher, for her birthday start. And this is Martha Evans, and again, I put it in this bag, and I started to laminate more things so that I can tag what I'm working on. And this is a bag I made. Don't need that. Do I need that? Where's it? I guess I should pull out the chart picture so you, that is I think a lot of you have seen this. I'm doing this with the Called For DMC. And this is by the Scarlet House. If you're looking for it, it's readily available. You can contact your local needle workshop or go online and look in different places. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I'm using the DMC floss. Really, really pretty. And again, I laminated the key so that I have that right there. I got a little revved up with my laminator. I'm doing this on, did I write it on here? I don't think I wrote it on, but I know. And this one's for you, Brenda. Okay, this is new linen. Now, a lot of people have been talking about Cedar River linens, and this is by Jody from Trixie Tricycle. And if you go on to her FlossTube, she'll talk more about it, but you can also find her online at Cedar River. And this is the tag. And I'm using Tephra. This is one of her colors, and it works. It's working beautifully for the color palette. I wanted something darker. I couldn't find Hemingway. It just felt like it was all sold out, and I thought, you know, I love Hemingway, but let me see if I can find something in my stash. And this showed up, and right around the same time that I was kitting it up, and so I said, let's go with it. So it is a gorgeous linen. You can tell it's a beautiful sampler color. It's going to look fabulous with these colors. Love it. So I just made the tiniest little start in that upper corner there. And this is going to be like a no pressure sampler for me. I will be working on it this year. I'm not going to push too hard. I'm going to enjoy it. I feel like it's going to go a little bit faster than most samplers just because there's no over one. And it's a good size, but it doesn't feel like it's too big. Really enjoying the strawberries, and I think they're strawberries on the border. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I love this red. Goodness, 321. That makes me so happy. Okay, so if you're looking to join in on that, I think it's a soft start. I think I started it on her birthday, which was January 16th, but people are still starting it, and I think, you know, people are still getting their supplies even. It's something that you can join in anytime, and it's to really pay tribute to one of the heroes to me of this community. And she shares from her heart, and she spreads so much joy and love throughout this community. It's nice to be able to celebrate that. So I've got my Brenda sampler going. I've got my Laura sampler going. So let's see where I am here. 43 minutes. This is something I'm almost done with, and now I know what I'm going to do to finish it. So let me show it to you. This is by Modern Folk Embroidery. It is and flat, 1828. And I changed all of the colors. I just played around with all the different colors that I had in my stash. So it's kind of no rhyme or reason. And the only thing I have left to finish is underneath, the phrase underneath. And on the sampler itself, it says it has the girl's name Ann Flat. And I thought, well, I wanted to actually say something. So I think, because it started off as one of those years already. It's been a really rough start to 23. It has been kind of hard, but we're getting through. But it would be good to put, I've decided to put "This too shall pass" on the bottom, because, you know, the waves start and the storm goes, and then eventually it all passes and the sun comes out. And My word for this year, I know people are picking words, and I was really meditating on that. What did I want to use? And so I ultimately chose faith. And I think what kind of pushed me in that direction is I was watching Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher, and she was talking about George Muller, who was the Bristol, he was a orphanage creator for the Bristol orphanage, and I watched the documentary on him, and he just lived by faith, and thank God for things before they showed up. Just thank you for the food, the abundant food we are about to receive. We're grateful for the food. And there was no food on the table, and then the door knocked, and the baker showed up and said, oh, something told me in the middle of the night to bake you bread. So I brought bread for the children. And then there was the bread. And then a few minutes later, the milk truck broke down right outside the orphanage. And they said, we have all this milk, it's going to spoil. Why don't you take it? That kind of thing. And I feel like I say it a lot to the kids, ask the universe for what you want. Don't tell it what you don't want. Tell it what you do want. Draw it to you, and trust in God that it's gonna be there. So my word is faith. So I feel that it's something that I work towards, making the leap, and I think you can't have faith without the other part of it. So the disbelief or the doubt, that's the bridge that gets you over to faith. And so there are people that are just, born that way. Like, I know it's all going to be okay. I trust in God. And then there are people like me that I have to really, wrap my head around it and push myself a little bit into that direction, and just trust. It's all going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Wow, that was a tangent. I might have to edit that. Next up at 47 minutes is Feliz Navidad, and this is another beautiful blackbird chart. I started on a lark last year. I don't even know when I started all of these things. I don't think I was really keeping track. I'm using the called for flosses for this. They're mostly Weeks Dye Works. Yep, I think they're all Weeks Dye Works. And this is a piece of Hand Dyed by Stephanie Toasted Almond. So I can't remember what else I was doing on this, but I really, really love it. And here she is. Teeny tiny little start. I'm just kind of jumping around the alphabet at the top. And again, this was something I picked up, I think, and started in November of last year. When I was done with Christmas Garden, I wanted another Blackbird Christmas start. And this one just speaks to me. Just everything about it is gorgeous. And I think this toasted almond, I think it works great. It almost looks exactly like the picture. Oh, Christmas Garden by Blackbird Design. And again, 36 count toasted almond, 1 strand. Good coverage. All right, let's see here. And again, just one of those Amazon bags. I'm telling you, those things are lifesavers for me. Everything kind of fits and slides into them very easily. And they fit and slide in next to each other quite nicely. Oh gosh, this I think I'm going to start working on in the morning. So I just finished that little red sampler, Florence Law, and I really love having a red sampler to work on. Now this one was not charted as a red sampler. Oh, that's nice. This is it's a reproduction by Rebecca Murphy, Sandbury Stitches. Becca. And really cute, beautiful colors. But I decided to use Splendor silk I got at my local needlework shop, and it has great coverage. One strand of floss, and I'm doing this on, it's a scrap, so I'm not sure I even took note of what I was doing this on. It might be toasted almond. It kind of looks like that. I know it is a 36 count, and that's where I am on it. I'm not very far, but I love how fast it goes. And I feel that, again, if I pick this up, today is the 1st, so if I pick this up and work on it this month, I'll finish this. I love the idea of actually doing a red sampler in perpetuum, like always having a red sampler on the go. I know a lot of people have talked about that, but I almost feel like that's what I want to do this year, is finish a red sampler every month. They don't have to be huge. Well, some of them are big. But yeah, so that one is in a bag. This bag I made out of a tea towel from Filoli. And I used the weaker, I don't know, I should have reinforced it a little bit. It's quite big, but that's where that lives. So, and that Splendor, let me just tell you that Splendor silk is S820. Let me take it out. I'm actually going to put it on a floss drop. It's really nice to work with, and it's got a nice luster. It's a little more blue. It's got a little more blue to it, which I tend to like. Okay, the stack is building. This bag I made, this was something I did with Olivia B and Lori Textilist. They were doing a stitch along with applique. So this was my one and only applique, and I just threw it on this bag. Applique is fun, and I have lots of plans to do more applique. I'd love to do an entire Blackbird Designs quilt in applique, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't made plans to do it yet. What do I have in here? Oh, something I was dying to do, and here it is. So this is Scattered Seed Samplers, Catherine Dickinson. And a beautiful, not terribly big. I got the Call for Flosses, and this is on a piece of 36 count Dusty Road by Seraphim. Teeny tiny start, not very big. And that's where I am. Oh, that's a pretty fabric, isn't it? The modeling. And this is all Call for Floss. I believe I changed the silk, and it's Soie Cristal. Soie Cristal, and it is by Karen Silks 2013. It's kind of an orangey red. It works really nicely with the other flosses, or just the Call for Floss. That's where she is. And I had to get this. I was so gung-ho about it, and then something else fluttered into my attention, and I started to do that. This is so good to go through everything, because now it's like, oh, get it out and finish it. I didn't even know it was in there. That's terrible. But now I do. I'm going to throw this out there. I got this on eBay. Sometimes people take apart cross-stitch magazines and sell them individually, and this is a little schoolhouse sampler. It's by Candace Thomas is the designer. I thought that was really cute. And so they just kind of cut it out of the magazine and put it in this protector, so I have the chart now. Good idea. More things. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, this is something that I picked up on a whim. This is by, it's a freebie called Love Never Fails. This is Primitive Hare. So you can go onto the Primitive Hare website. If I can find it and link it, I will. And you can download this. And I started this on a piece of, it looks like 28 count Monaco. Yeah. That I overdyed. I got off on it. I made mistakes and I just kind of threw it back in. But I'll have to get this out because it won't take long to finish that. It's so cute. It'd be great. Oh, actually, you know, glad I found this because that would be great to finish for a Valentine's Day finish. And I'm using 902 is the floss. It's been a while since I started it. 902 is a red floss from DMC. I overdyed it with, it looks like gold or something. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I'm going to share this right now because I overdyed some fabric. I thought, you know, I'm going to try to dye fabric. I didn't say it quite like that. I'm going to dye some fabric, I said, and I'm going to figure out how to get a piece of white linen to look like vintage light exemplar. I don't care how long I have to do it. I'm going to figure it out. I got all my dye, put on my apron and my gloves, and had exact measuring units figured out to do a low immersion dye. And I don't have it with me, but I did like all of these test pieces on just a plain little white linen swatches. And then I got to a point where I thought, this could work. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. So I got my 40 count white linen out and I did the low immersion thing and I pulled it out and went, ick. It just was like icky. So I thought, you know, I can't ruin it anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and soak it in a weak bleach bath. So that's what I did. And this is how it came out, which I have mixed feelings about it. It's 36 count actually, Zweigart. And I dyed it and then I bleached it. So can I ever repeat it? No, I can't. I have no idea how I did it. So that is how it turned out. It is super light now. And it's a little too peachy. It's not really reading peach. Don't fall over. Is it reading peach? It kind of reads tan and I could use it. I can use it like this, but I almost feel like I'm wanting to try again and see if I can overdye it a little bit more and have it turn out a little bit more mottled. But it would work. I mean, I could use it for a sampler. I don't know. Anyway, so I really enjoy dyeing. I love it, but it's hard. It's hard to be consistent, and it's hard. It's a little scary because, you know, even the white Zweigart, you know, 36 count, I probably paid close to $20 for this piece. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to. So I don't know. I have plain linen that I can go ahead and, you know, go for it again. While I'm showing you things, I'm going to show you one more thing. So this is my other piece of my Cedar River. I got a piece of Overcast in a 40 count. So let me see if I can throw that on there and show you. So it's got, so like as a comparison, this is the one I dyed, which is kind of that peachy, warmer color. The Overcast is a little bit more tan. It's really pretty. Oof. It's great linen. It's got nice, I don't know how she does it. Clearly I don't, because it's got this soft modeling, just enough interest. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I love having it in my stash. It's got a little hint, not reading, but it's kind of grayish. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so that's 40 count, and I'm so thrilled to have it. Okay, let's move on. A couple more here. Where am I? I'm at an hour. This is going to be a long one. I have to edit down. Maybe I'll take my rant out in the middle. Okay, Heartstring Samplery, His Eyes on the Sparrow. Again, beautiful, beautiful. And I'm doing this with the Call for Flosses. And this is a piece of Heartland by Picture This Plus on 36 count, 1 strand of floss. Did I do one? Oh gosh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's 2. Uh-oh, I should know this. It is 2. It's 32 count, 2 strands of floss. I'll do it. Look at it's like it's huge. It's like a tablecloth. I got the border to meet up, and I worked a bit on the tree. That's where I am on it. And I think I made a mistake on this. I used the wrong floss for this flower down there, but it'll be okay. I didn't want to pull it out. It's just going to be different. Love, love, love. Really different from Consider the Lilies. Clearly, this one has a little bit more earthiness to it. All of the wildlife. It's so pretty. I don't know offhand if I can think who I've seen that has finished this. You can get all of these on, you can get them on her website, Heartstring Samplery. But yeah, I need to, I'll get back to it. That's going to be a really long-term project because I kind of felt like I wanted to push on Consider the Lilies first and finish that because another Christmas bag I made. Let's see here. I'm not sure what's even in here. I don't think I have these cute patterns and they don't take very long to do. So these are kind of it's kind of my Christmas Smalls book. And I have different fabrics in here. Do I have a finish? I think I have a finish in here that I did. Oh, I have a couple things. Okay, I'm so sorry. So let's see. This is a finish. This is on a piece of 40 count Dusty Road by Seraphim. So it's a really tiny, tiny little house. And this is out of the Prairie Schooler, book number 29. And they used a darker fabric on this. And I believe it calls for the cover models were stitched on 20 count natural cork linen using 2 strands of floss over 1 thread. 2 strands of floss over 1 thread on a 20 count. So that wouldn't that be 40? That would translate to that, I think, that size. So I think I changed the colors. They're not really Prairie Schooler colors. I made the trees brighter. So that was my finish on that one. Now in the same bag, this was my Christmas Day start. That's why I have it in here. This is by Lottie Da, a Christmas sampler, a Merry Christmas sampler. Adorable pattern. Easy to find still. And this is where I am on it. I'm doing this on 36 count parchment by Weeks Dye Works with called for flosses, DMC flosses, kind of. I subbed out the DMC for 115, the red. And that's where I am on it. Very enjoyable stitch. And again, I don't think I have a whole, that tree is a big part of it, so I'm enjoying that. So I'll get back to that. I took it out on the 25th because I've been following along with the 25th day of the month to do a Christmas stitch. So I don't have to work on it for a really long time, but that's the day that I pulled that out. And I'll have that done maybe in a couple months. I'll be done with it. If I just work on it one day, it's not going to take long, but I'll work on it for at least an hour or two usually. Rose Cottage Pin Keep. This is in my Teresa Kogut bag. And I was just looking on her Etsy site. She has a lot of cute bags out now. And it's not terribly big, but it's just the right size for one of the smaller patterns. And this is something that I've been laboring at for a while, Rose Cottage Pin Keep, and I'm redoing it, changing it here and there. So that always takes time because I recharted some of the little motifs. Now I made a mistake on it, and I've talked about that before, where so I'm doing this on a piece of 36 count Picture This Plus Heartland, and I'm using called for flosses, but I'm changed out. I changed out and used Palmico, a gray color, for the border. I wanted it to be a little bit different, but everything else is the same. I think I'm changed the white to make it lighter, and that's where I am on this. Rose Cottage Pin Keep, Rose Cottage Sampler Pin Keep, and it's not small. I mean, that's a big pin keep. So I'm probably going to end up framing it or making it into a little pillow, because there's still a section at the bottom that gets put in. But I'm kind of making some good progress on it. Most of that house is done. What did I do the red? The house is, I think it's the called for 3859. No. One moment. 355. Not sure if it calls for that. 355. It doesn't. The red was supposed to be 3859, and I did 355. No. Scratch that. 355. That's correct. 3859 was the pink, so yeah. Everything's called for, except for the gray. So yes, moving along on that, and that was something that I kind of feel like springy, like when I think of spring. Picture This Plus Heartland. Did I say that? It's a piece of Picture This Plus Heartland 36 count, which is what I'm doing his eyes on the sparrow on. It's a very gold, modeled gold. So very primitive, kind of. Pretty. All right, 2 more. 1 minute and 7 seconds here. Oh, this is probably, I'm going to have this be my last one. The other one is a Mill Hill that just has been lingering. I don't even feel like pulling it out. But this is one of my oldest, most favorite samplers. And this is by Samplers and Such. It's called the MMEW 1847 sampler. Hard to see from this picture. I'm going to get in close so you can kind of check it out. Hopefully it's not too blurry. I love everything about this. I love all the business on top and action and crazy on the bottom. I am using Lakeside, and it is Vintage Light Exemplar. It's a big piece, and this is a, what am I doing? 40 count. So I'm using 1 strand of floss, and I just kind of used any floss I felt like using. I have not, I didn't really follow. I started off, I think, using their called for flosses, and then I went a little crazy. And that's where I am on it. Isn't she pretty? Oh, I love it so much. I've been having fun changing up the colors and adding personal touches. Put a cat here, and I'm going to put another cat here. And let's see, so I've worked on the middle motif and working my way up. So I've got, once I get that part done, I'm heading up. I've got a couple of angels to do on either side, and then I'm going to be going into the alphabet, which you can see should be pretty straightforward. So this is what I want to finish this year for sure, and I almost feel like this will be my February, almost, I want to say monogamous. I want to work on this until it's done. But there's other things I want to do as well, so we'll see about that. But definitely this will be finished this year because it's been in here now for 3 years, kind of playing around with this. It deserves to be done. And I really, really love it. I think it's my favorite, all-time favorite sampler that I've worked on. I don't know why. I think it's just so colorful and fun. I think you can still find it. I believe I got this on eBay. But if you put a search out there for it, you can probably find it. Samplers and Such. It's been around for a while. And there is a samplersandsuch.com that you can check and see if you can find it there. I think I'm going to wind it up there. So I have purchases, and I think it's going to have to, it'll have to wait till next time. I will show you one because I couldn't resist this. Actually, this was a Christmas gift, and I want to say thank you to Austin, who is our son-in-law, and we draw names for Christmas, and he got my name, and I put a little bird in the kid's ear, I would really like this. So that's what I got for Christmas. Lucy Barber. And she is 1857. This is from Traditional Stitches. You might still be able to get this. I just got the chart. I didn't get the kit because I've got so many things going right now. I probably will do DMC with this. And I'm not sure of the fabric, what I'll do, but it is like the perfect sampler. I love the saying, Jesus, my all to heaven is gone. My all to heaven is gone. He whom I fix my hopes upon. His track I see and I'll pursue the narrow way till him I view. Aged 11 years. Wow, 11. Go girl. The deer at the bottom behind the tree. And just the beautiful satin stitched roses that you can opt in or out of that. You can do cross stitches if you want to. And I think, is that over one? No, the verse is not over one. That's nice. So I don't think there's any necessarily hard stitches in this. Beautiful. So that's my one and only. I have other things, other purchases, but I've kind of sprinkled them in here and there. I'm going to wind it up here, and I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. I'm probably going to edit this and try to get it to fit in under an hour. I wish you all a happy new year and happy February. I hope you're doing some fun stitches, and I look forward to seeing all of you Flosstubers that are putting things out, and I'm looking forward to reading comments and participating in this community. I love it so much. So you guys take care, and I'll see you next time. Until then, I wish you many peaceful hours with your needle and thread. Bye, everybody.